2 or 3, 4 crises ago, I don't know, I'm an old guy now. I had a personal crisis, of losing everything. I decided I was never going to be the victim of the things I can control when one of these things that I can't control come at me again. And so we got out of debt and we built an emergency fund. And we were in the last downturn of 2008, we were in a position we had piles of cash. And so I was able to buy real estate at a nickel and a dime on the dollar. And it was a wonderful time. But there were other times I was broke and couldn't take advantage of stuff being on sale. But if you're in a position you got money right now, the stock market's on sale, real estate's not moved much yet. But if you're buying even consumer items other than toilet paper, most things are on sale. It is cliche, but cliches come from truth. It's the greatest time and the worst time in your life. You don't want to go back there. I went bankrupt. I lost everything in my 20s. I don't want to go back there. But the lessons that I learned from that pain were so thorough. Pain is a thorough teacher. It was a rich time. The fertilizer was everywhere. Lots of place to grow stuff, lots of poop. And that's what you had there in 2008. There weren't any jobs. You could just, there was a contraction of the economy, a recession, and you are on your citrus couch. And so you found out that the secret sauce in your life is the guy in your mirror, that it's not some outside variable that's going to come and save you. The Calvary's not coming. Santa Claus doesn't live in Washington, D.C. It's up to you, baby. Get up off the couch. I got to go leave the cave, kill something, and drag it home. You found that truth in that moment. I found that truth that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That old saying. I found that truth. And nowadays, now that I've been through, Y2K or 911 or all these initials come at you, the horrible thing of 2008, now the corona. The only thing I am sure is we're going to get through this. You get hope because you go, it's not going to kill you. You could get the virus. I don't mean that, right. But I'm saying the economic stress that we're under, the fear that we have, the concern or the worry that we have, you don't die from it, but you feel like there's this hopelessness, and the truth is that's unfounded. The truth is there's a lot of reason to have hope. By September, where do you really think we're going to be? By this time next year, are you not 90-something% sure that the economy will be roaring again and your life will be back to some level of normalcy? You think it's going to be 10 years for you to personally recover from this? No, that's absurd. And you know that once you've walked through several of them. And so it's just, to me, it's like, yeah, you're going to make it. We're going to be okay. We're in fabulous financial shape. It's not I got a lot of money invested in the stock market. It's going down. I'm going to put some more money in while it's on sale. If real estate goes on sale again, I'll buy some more. It's not arrogance. It's just I've been doing this a long time. I'm the little pig in the brick house, huff and puff, baby. But it does put you in a position to serve then. And truthfully, you get more joy, even in a crisis, in serving than you do in sitting in the basement and counting your coins. The thing is this, we all get wake-up calls. We get wake-up calls in our relationships, our spiritual walk. We get wake-up calls in our finances. And some people, the phone's ringing off the hook right now. They're getting wake-up calls on a bunch of things. They're at home with their family, and they're starting to realize, I was disconnected from my family. They got a wake-up call on their relationships at home. They've gotten a wake-up call on, I don't have any savings, and I'm deeply in debt. This isn't working. And so the cool thing is when you get the call, then you have to make the choice. Are you going to answer the phone? If you pick the phone up, that means, baby, it's time to change. And you can look back, and you might be 27 years old right now watching this, and you're screwed. You lost your job. You got no money. You got no savings. And you feel like it's all over. And I remember in 1970, I was 10 years old, and I was in my grandpa's backyard. We were tearing down an old deck, and I pulled some nails out of those old boards as we were taking the boards off, and he taught me to put them down and straighten them with a hammer and save those used nails in a coffee can. Now, my grandpa Ramsey was one of my favorite people on the planet. This is 1970, and he was still answering the phone that rang in the Great Depression. It changed his life. He was frugal and careful and wise with money the rest of his life. And so someday, 27-year-old, you're going to be sitting on the back porch with your grandkid, and you're going to remember back in 2020, there was the coronavirus, and it changed my life. And you're going to be that guy. You're going to be giving dad jokes, and grandpa jokes, right, like I am now. And you're going to get that opportunity. I was 28 years old when I lost everything. It was my fault. It was the S&L crisis. The banking climate changed. I built a house of cards. I was stupid. And the phone rang. And it was my wake-up call. Are you going to answer the phone? Are you going to change your life where you say, never again? I'm going to control the controllables to where I'm the little pig in the brick house. Never again. That may be the only thing you get out of this crisis, and if it is, you got enough. In my life, when I have become desperate, right after that's when I become stupid. When you get scared and you go rushing towards something out of fear, that sense of desperation, this thing, when you do that, you're getting ready to screw up. I mean, just count on it. And the other time you do that is if you're greedy. If you think okay, I got this one. I can take advantage of this. And I mean, greedy as a lack of virtue greedy. I don't mean greedy in a positive way where I'm being ambitious, okay? I mean the negative sides of greed. And so if you're functioning in desperation or in this no holds barred, I'm going to just clean up on other people's pain thing, that's when you're getting ready to screw up and you're getting ready to make a major mistake. And so you're set up also for con artists when you do that. If you're functioning in high emotion, your brain just doesn't work good. My friend Art Laffer says, when you're panicked and when you're drunk, you don't make good decisions. When you're on high emotion, your critical thinking skills shut down. That's when I've made the biggest mistakes in my life, is when I was desperate, and the few times that I was greedy, where I thought, I'm going to slip in there and that's going to be easy money. A buddy of mine, I was in my 20s, and a buddy of mine was buying gold. Now, this is in the 80s. Okay, it's 1,000,000 years ago. And he's buying gold, and he had this friend that was a gold bug. He was picking gold, and this guy had picked the gold prices where they were going within $1 like 14 times in a row. We both dropped $5,000 into this thing, and if we had hit, it was a margin deal, and so I would have made $50,000. But it's a margin play, which means you're either going to make $50,000 or you're going to make zero. So he picked it right 14 times. The time I got in, the 15th time, missed it. I got zero. Turned $5,000 into zero instantly. Last time I bought gold, last time I played stuff on margin, last time I got greedy. The vast majority of people who are successful financially and successful have done it incrementally. There's very few people who you see a meteoric rise in their wealth or their success that keep it. I think because you build your character along the way to be able to hold on and be able to do it. I think that's my theory on it. I mean, I got rich quick. I started with nothing. And by the time I was 26, I had $4 million worth of real estate. I built a house of cards, and I had $1 million net worth. I made $250,000 in 1984. I was making $20,000 a month in my 20s. So, I mean, but you'd have thought I had it all figured out. Meteoric rise to the top. But the very thing that caused me to be the incredible overdrive of ambition caused me to go so fast that I missed the blind spots. I missed the detour signs. I missed the bridge out signs. And so I built this house of cards I thought was a stone house, but I was naive and didn't know. And along comes some regulations changes, a few shifts in the economy, a little S&L crisis, and all of a sudden Dave looks like an idiot instead of a genius. So it turns out I was a little of both, because you don't build something like that at 25 if you're not somewhat of a genius. But I was obviously an idiot in the way I built it, and so I get to do it again. Get the wonderful opportunity to start over. But I mean, in the midst of that, as I was falling, it took 2.5 years to lose everything we own. I almost got conned, serious con, like people just a real con artist type guy. There's not many of them out there. Right. Most of the time you get screwed by well-meaning ignoramuses. But these were real con artists coming into my path, and I was about to give them money because I so desperately needed to turn quick money into big money to save myself. I was desperate. And right about the time you get desperate is when you get stupid. It's okay to take a spike, but anytime I get a spike, I'm always a little suspicious of it. It makes me even more careful. I draw back and I go, well, that's really cool. Is it okay? Because it's not normative. Normative is incremental. So I always tell entrepreneurs, it's okay to be on the cover of Slow Company magazine. It's a decision. You can just decide. I mean, think about it. What's integrity? I can just decide I have it. And now I do. And I start acting out of the fact that I am a person of high integrity. I'm a person who's dependable. I'm a person you can count on. I got your six. I got your back. I'm not going to cut your throat from behind. And you can just decide to be that today. Maybe you were the world's worst gossip before, and none of your friends could count on anything except you slitting their throat from behind. But you can just decide, just like that, to change. It's a wonderful decision. You do a turnaround. For most of us, it's a journey. You don't do it instantaneously. I can decide to control my tongue. I can decide to speak life over people rather than death and filth over them. I can decide that. But most people just go along and their language is filthy and their life is filthy, and then they wonder why they're not winsome and the opportunity does not come to them. It's because opportunity runs from that. People don't want to do deals with people they can't count on who are crooks. It's not that I'm being judgmental. I just want to be wise because, you become who you hang around with, for sure. Your speech patterns, you read the same books, you have the same thought patterns, you're hopeful or fearful based on who you run around with, what your inputs. We know this because those of us that raise kids, we don't let our kids run around with juvenile delinquents because we know they'll come home acting like juvenile delinquents. And adults aren't any different. They're the same thing. I read the same books my best buds read. I think the same way they think. And so I have to be careful. Who's my inner circle? My dad was in the real estate business when I was growing up and was a student of all the great sales trainers and positive thinkers of that day. I mean, we had breakfast, lunch, and dinner with Zig Ziglar, Earl Nightingale, Paul Harvey, Cavett Robert, Charlie Tremendous Jones. And he infected us, my dad did, infected my sister and I with the belief that we can do anything. I really believe I can do anything. I mean, I guess I'm not going to be in the NBA, okay? I'm not going to play in the NFL, okay? I don't mean that. But I'm saying if I apply myself and I figure out what the steps are and what the blockers are, and I do the steps and I overcome the blockers, it's up to me. The cavalry's not coming. And so it was a wonderful, wonderful childhood in that regard. Very entrepreneurial household that goes with that, obviously. But if you will get up and leave the cave, kill something, and drag it home, you'll be okay.